Okay, turn to 12.2 in your packet, the study guide intervention. We're doing measures of variation today. So we've done mean, median, and mode before. We're going to use median again in here. So some of this will be familiar, some of it might be a little bit new. We're going to talk about range and interquartile range and how to describe how a set of data varies. The range is the difference between the greatest and the least value of the set. So I'm going to call that R for range, and that means you're taking the maximum number minus the minimum number. The median, we know, is the middle of ordered data. And then we're going to take the median and we're going to split the lower half and the upper half of the data from where the circled middle is. The first one is called the lower quartile. I like to use LQ for that. And the other one is upper quartile, and I use UQ. The lower quartile is the median of the lower half of the set of data, and the upper is the median of the upper half of the set of data. So for this, you need to know that you have to start counting the number to the left/right, depends on whether you're doing lower or upper, of the circled median. That means if there's two numbers that are in the middle, how we would draw a line. If there were two middles, we would draw a line and come down in the bottom and find the exact middle of the two. That's the circled median. So you'll see both ways in just a few minutes. The interquartile range is last, and I call that IQR, so I don't have to write out that long word. And that's the difference between the upper quartile and the lower quartile. So the IQR is equal to the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. All right, so we're going to fill this in to show the different parts of the data. So notice the data is written from least to greatest. From the least to the greatest, the difference for that is the range. And remember, you do the highest number minus the lowest number. Oh, I should give this a title. These are measures of variation. All right, and then we count the middle. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's the middle here, and that's my median. I'm going to put MED for median. Now notice that's the circled middle. So I start exactly to the left, directly to the left, and start counting 1, 2, 3, and then I like to circle the lower quartile, and I like to circle the minimum, because we're going to need these tomorrow or the next day for our box and whiskers. Directly to the right is 16, 1, 2, 3. I'll circle the 20, that's my upper quartile. Then I always circle the last one, that's my maximum. If you find the difference between the upper and the lower quartile, that's the interquartile range. Okay, so those are all the parts that you need. Now, as far as the data goes, the data could be in a list or it could be in a stem and leaf plot. And if you don't like it in the stem and leaf plot, you can always write them in a list because they're already in order for you. But if you want to write them out in a list of numbers, you can if it's easier to count. All right, so we're going to find the range and the interquartile range for each set of data. So the first thing we do is list the data from least to greatest. So let's write that together. Pause if you need to at any point. We got 2, 3, 8, 12, 14, 14, 17, 21. So I start counting 1, 2, 3, and I see that there's two middles. So halfway between 12 and 14 is 13. Okay, that's my median. Now because that's my circle median, directly to the left of that is the 12. So I start counting on the 12 and the 2, and then I notice there's two middles here. Add up 3 and 8, you get 11. Divided by 2, you get 5.5. I like to circle all my parts. and that's my minimum. You don't have to label it every time, but these are our notes. That's why we're labeling. Directly to the right is 14, so I start counting, and I see there's 2 middles here, excuse me. Add them up, divide by 2, and you get 15.5. That's your upper quartile. 21 is your maximum number. So you find all 5 of those numbers, and I like to circle them because that makes it easy when we do the box and whisker in the next section. Find the upper and lower quartiles. So we found everything on there. And then we're going to find the interquartile range. So range first is 21 minus 2. That's 19. The interquartile range is the upper quartile, 15.5, minus the lower quartile, 5.5, which is 10. Then there's the stem and leaf plot. It shows the greatest value is 56, the least value is 22. So my range, so I have 22 and 56. 56 minus 22 is equal to 34. Okay, now for this one, I like to put my minimum, my LQ, my median, my UQ, and my maximum over here because it's hard on the stem and leaf plot. You'll see once I start crossing some things off, it's hard for me to keep track of. So I like to rewrite everything over here. Now when I go to find my middle number, I don't want to cross things out yet because then I'm going to go back and have to find an LQ and UQ. So if you don't like the way this looks and you don't like counting this way, you can always take these numbers and rewrite them in a list from least to greatest. They're already there, just copy them down. So when I do this the first time, I like to use like a dot next to it or under it. So there's 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Go to the next lowest one here, here. Go here to the next highest one. Here, 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 here. Oops, here. Here and here. So there it is. So my median is 42. Okay, now you can cross off if you want, since you made dots the first time. So directly to the left, there's the highest, lowest, highest, lowest, highest, lowest, highest, lowest, and that would be this one right here. So my LQ is 31, my minimum was 22. I can fill in my maximum too. Lowest, highest, lowest, highest, lowest, highest, lowest, highest. Circle this one, and it is 48. So now that my 5 numbers, they call it a 5-number summary, is done, I can do my IQR, which is UQ 48 minus LQ 31, and I get 17. Okay, so on your homework, fill this in on your homework. You're going to list in order, circle and label the 5 numbers, find your range and find your IQR. Down here you have your minimum, LQ, median, UQ, and maximum. I want them listed over here, and the range and interquartile here. If in addition to that you need to write them from least to greatest in a list, if you have a hard time counting and circling when they're in a stem and leaf plot like this, you can. Otherwise you can leave it just as is. So make sure that you have on the top 5 or top 6 listed from least to greatest. The bottom 12, you don't have to rewrite them. If you don't want to, you can just cross them off like we did on the notes, but you do need to write what the 5 numbers are and do the 2 subtractions. So here you don't have to write the 5 numbers, you have to circle them and label them, and then this one is the subtractions. Okay? Good luck.